Hey guys, I hope everyone's doing well. Today we're going to do notes number 3, and notes number 3 is pretty nice because you have actually learned half of the notes already. You learned them at the end of Spanish 1B and you've addressed them again in 2A. So this set of notes is called Preterite Spelling Changes. That's right, we're back at the preterite again. So notes 1 was about our new past tense, the imperfect. Notes 2 was comparing and contrasting the imperfect with the preterite. And now notes 3 and the next set of notes, notes 4, are going to be covering some final points about the preterite, which is by far the messier of the two tenses to conjugate. Remember, in the imperfect, you only have 3 irregulars, but in the preterite, we have a lot of business going on. So today's notes, again, is notes number 3, preterite spelling changes. And I'm going to head over to my whiteboards and we're going to get these notes down. The first half should seem rather familiar to you. Okay, so our notes, the first half is going to cover some spelling changes that occur in the preterite tense if your verb ends with one of 3 possible endings. This is the part of the notes that you've seen before. You may recall in the past, in Spanish 1B and in Spanish 2A, learning that verbs that end with CAR, GAR, or ZAR have a spelling change in the past tense, in the preterite. We call these cars, gars, and zars. Now, the spelling change only occurs in the yo form. All of the other forms are completely normal. So this is a really nice opportunity for us to review those AR verb endings in the preterite. I know you have them written down. We have worked with them loads throughout 1B and 2A. Here they are, though, as a visual, if you need to pause and get these written down real quick. But we've seen these before. These are the past tense endings, the preterite tense endings for AR verbs. Okay, so this is the yo form. This is the only form that's going to have something different with our cars, gars, and zars. So the rest of the forms are going to remain the same with no change at all. When we have our yo form, and this would be something that I could explain in more detail if you wanted a deeper explanation, if you're the type of person who wants why, but just for the sake of getting the notes down now, I'll just give you the basic change. When we have a verb that ends with CAR, or GAR, or ZAR, we don't like to just put that letter C followed by our E. We don't like that. We don't like our G just followed by the E either. Spanish doesn't like that. Spanish wants us to add one extra thing. And like I said, there is a backstory. We won't worry about it for today. We've cut off our AR, okay, and to put our ending on. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to get rid of the C also, and we're going to replace the whole thing with Q, U, E. Now, you've learned, I'm going to write my E a little bit more clearly. You've learned how to pronounce Q, U, E. It's pronounced K. So we'll tag that on the end of our stem if we're saying that I did whatever the verb is. If a verb ends with GAR, you can't just add G with an E. We sneak a little U in there. So my yo form for my verbs that end with GAR is GUE. And if it's a verb that ends with ZAR, we replace the Z with a C, and we have that as our new ending. And I did make an example of each verb for you. So here's our car, CAR verb. This is the verb buscar. It means to look for. Okay. So if you notice, as I had mentioned, all of the endings are normal, as we've always learned. Okay, with the exception of that yo form. Instead of just having BUSC with an E, we do perform a spelling change. I put it in pink so it'll be a little more noticeable. It becomes QUE. That's pronounced busque, buscaste, busco, etc. I looked for, you looked for, he or she looked for. I made 2 more examples for you, one for the GARs and one for the ZARs. I crammed them on one whiteboard so they're a little smaller. But here's the verb pagar. Pagar is our verb for to pay. And empezar, which is our verb for to start or to begin. And again, notice all of the forms are completely normal except for the yo form, where we did do that spelling change. And the best way to learn these 3 spelling changes The QUE, GUE, and CE is simply to memorize them. Now moving on, we're going to see a kind of spelling change that we have not yet learned. Okay, our second spelling change in the preterite is what we call a vowel sandwich. And vowel sandwiches only occur if the verb is an ER or IR verb. So we looked at this a few minutes ago, the AR endings. Well now, in discussing the vowel sandwiches, we'll discuss the ER and IR endings. So this set of notes is actually having us discuss both of the regular sets of endings. It's kind of nice. So you should have these in your notes somewhere. If you don't have them handy or don't have them on you, now's your chance to pause this and get these written down. Okay? And what happens with a vowel sandwich is we run into an issue, and that issue is Spanish tries to avoid having three vowels together. When it can be avoided, and it can't always be avoided, but when there's a chance for three vowels in a row to be avoided, Spanish will avoid that. And we do have an issue where that comes up sometimes in the preterite. In ER and IR verbs, if the stem ends with a vowel, we have an issue. Check it out. Here's a good example of a verb where the stem ends with a vowel. I conjugated it as though it were normal. This is our good old verb leer. You learned this back in Spanish 1. It's the verb to read. When I cut off my ending, I'm left just with LE. Okay, and then I put my ER, IR endings on. Can you spot anywhere that we have three vowels in a row? Here and here. The bottom row of our ER and IR verbs, if the stem ends with a vowel, needs a spelling change. Now, like I said, Spanish tries to avoid having three vowels in a row. When it can be avoided, Spanish will make a change necessary to avoid it. And we're in luck, we can do this. We do have another letter in Spanish that can function like the letter I. Remember, the letter I makes the sound E. What's another letter that we have that can also make the sound E? If you're thinking about this guy right here, you are correct. So we change the I to a Y when we have our ER, IR verbs, only if the stem ends with a vowel, thus making us have three vowels in a row, which Spanish doesn't like, we change the I to a Y. Now, leer is an ER verb. I have an IR verb as well to demonstrate this. This is a verb off of your current vocab list. It's the verb construir, which is the verb to construct. And notice again, we don't have this show up as an issue in any of our other scenarios, any of our other verb forms. It's just two vowels together. We're good with that in Spanish. We have no issues. But darn, again, it happens down here. Three vowels together. But we have the same solution. We can change the I to a Y. So that's our rule. If your stem ends in a vowel, your bottom row, the I becomes a Y. Okay? So the cars, gars, and zars you've seen before, these vowel sandwiches are something new. I hope these notes have been helpful. Email me if you have any issues. Run it back, hit pause, all that good stuff. Hope you guys are doing great. See you soon.